Hi everyone! Sound Particles just released MiniDust, our new synth. In this video, we will explore all the features and how this powerful and flexible tool can be inserted into your workflow. Let's start by exploring some of the presets. On MiniDust, you can find an extensive list of presets. As you can see, you can scroll to all of them, expand the list, reduce it, and you can also find our panel. Here, you can select different presets specifically for the arpeggiator, pitch, and space modules. You can also turn them on or off based on your preference. You can sort your presets by factory, user, artist, or even by type of preset. You can also sort them alphabetically. You can search your presets through the name, or you can use the magnifying glass to do it. On the Oscillators tab, you can find two oscillators. Here you can turn them on and off. You can change the waveform from something very basic to more complex waveforms. Down here, you have the envelope generator. You can control the attack, decay, the sustain, and also the release for your oscillator. Here you can change it to something simple like an ADR or something more complex with a delay in the beginning, an attack, hold, decay, sustain, and also the release. You can also change the curve type to all these options available. Down here you can switch the view to the LFO for each of the oscillators. In the filter section, we can manipulate the frequency, we can change the slope of the filter, and we can also add a resonance. And we can change it to any of these filter types. In the bottom section, you can also add an envelope generator and an LFO to add more texture to your sound. These options are being applied globally. However, you can change that to the Oscillator tab. Here, you can have different settings for each one of the oscillators. Just like the filters, in the pitch section, you can also modulate it with an envelope generator and an LFO. You can apply this globally or per oscillator. On the top section, you can also find the octave, transpose, and detune parameters that we have seen on the Oscillators tab. Here is where the fun begins, where you can add movement to your mixes. In the Space tab, you can select where the oscillators are located. You can increase the area where your oscillator is going to play randomly and change its position in the off mode. You can even be bolder and apply movement with an envelope generator or an LFO. And of course, you can apply this globally or per oscillator. In this preset, we have a mirrored movement on both oscillators. For example, you can set up the start position on the left side, then the attack in the front, the sustain on the top, and then when you release the note, the oscillator goes to the right. It's things like this that can bring life to your mixes. If you want an easier way to achieve this, you can also use the movement modifiers. You can set up where the position is going to start, how the movement is going to happen, and what is going to happen when you release the note. Either you can define a final position, or you can apply a movement when the note is released. MiniDust allows you to have an arpeggiator integrated. We can switch between up notes, down notes, up interval pairs, and so on. We can also enable and disable the octaves here. In the sequencer, we can play different notes for each one of the steps. You can add up to 128 steps, but for now, let's keep it with 7. Right now, we are using a mono keyboard. Let's also switch it to a poly keyboard, so that now we can introduce more notes per step to create a chord. On the sequencer, we can also change the note range, the reference note, and even force a scale. MiniDust also allows you to introduce multiple parameters per step. For example, we can have different pitches, different filters per step, or even the start position. Right now, each one of these steps is going to play in a different position, as you can see on the banner. MiniDust also includes a built-in effects rack, offering everything from chorus to reverb. You can also experiment with the different options to find the combinations that add more character to your mixes. Let's check out the Extras tab. You can assign these modulators to almost any parameter in MiniDust, allowing for intricate and dynamic sound design. You have 2 extra envelope generators and LFOs. In MiniDust's curve editor, the depth knob controls how much modulation is applied, while the min, mid and max set the lower, central and upper limits of the modulating range. Adjusting these allows you to shape how a parameter responds over time. So if you are looking to add more depth and character to your tracks, the Extras tab is a great place to start. Let's take a look at the Matrix tab. Here you can have an overview of the source and destination parameters being controlled on MiniDust. You can enable and disable them, select different parameters and manipulate the curve in the curve editor. You can view all the parameters or filter them by source or by destination. On the top bar, you can check if there's a MIDI message coming in with this blinking icon. You can also change the zoom of the plugin and roll the dice to get random results on MiniDust. This is where you will find your happy accidents. You can also lock these tabs so they won't change when you randomize them. In the center section, you can sweep through the different presets using the arrows. You can also modify some of them and save them as your own. You can change the name, the artist and the type, of course. MiniDust supports all major output formats, from stereo, binaural, 5.1, 7.1, all the way up to NHK 22.2 or Ambisonic's 6th order. On the settings, you can change the maximum value for polyphony, you can change the pitch bend values, the MIDI channel, and also visualize all the MIDI learn parameters. It's also possible to change the HRTF datasets for binaural, the subject, or even import your own SOFA file. For more experimental music pieces, you can adapt the tune of the synth as well as transpose your keyboard. Finally, we've reached the bottom of our plugin. Here you can play with the modulation wheel, the pitch bend, and increase or decrease the octave on your keyboard. In this section you can also enable and disable the presets for the arpeggiator, pitch and space. The mono legato button allows you to choose the monophonic mode, mono or legato. When the monophonic mode is active, it is also possible to change the glide on the knob. Lastly, you will find the macro A control over here. Still, in the keys section we have the panner and the master section. In the mixer you have the fader, the solo and the mute button for each one of the oscillators. On MiniDust you have two macros. You can add parameters to be controlled by these knobs or remove them. MiniDust brings one pad that can control two parameters at the same time. Finally, MiniDust offers you multiple views so you can have an overall perspective of how your oscillators behave. And this was MiniDust. You can already find it on our website as well as a free 30-day trial. As usual, give us your feedback and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next video.